name is Isabel Wheeler. It is December 5th of 2019, and this is week 6 video lab exercise of the digestive system. In this video, I'm going to pretend that I have just eaten a cheeseburger, and I'm going to describe what would happen to the cheeseburger as it goes through the digestive process. So I've just eaten a cheeseburger. I put it in my mouth, and so when you put it in your mouth, that is where the digestive tract begins. So the digestion starts when you take your first bite. So chewing the food up into smaller pieces makes it easier to digest. When the saliva mixes with the food, it begins the process of breaking it down into a form that your body can absorb and use. So the esophagus receives the food from when you swallow, and when it reaches the end of the esophagus, the muscle of your esophagus relaxes and lets the food pass into your stomach. And then once it reaches the stomach, which is a hollow organ, it holds the food and it mixes it with enzymes and digestive juices, and the process of breaking the food down continues. So the cells of the stomach secrete a strong acid and powerful enzymes that are responsible for breaking down the food. And when the contents of the stomach are processed, they're released into the small intestine. So the food reaches your small intestine, and the small intestine may seem small, but it is a 22-foot long muscular tube. And what the small intestine does is it breaks down the food using the enzymes released by the pancreas and bile from the liver, and that moves the food through, and it mixes it with digestive secretion from the pancreas and the liver, and it continues breaking down the food, and contents of the small intestine start out solid and they end in a liquid form after passing through the organ. The nutrients are absorbed in the small intestine, and the leftover food residue liquid has passed through the small intestine, and then it moves on to the large intestine. Once the food makes its way to the large intestine, which is also known as the colon is a 6-foot long muscular tube that connects the small intestine to the rectum. Once it reaches the large intestine, the waste products from the digestive process includes undigested parts of food, fluids, and other cells from the lining of your GI tract. The large intestine absorbs the water, and it changes the waste from liquid into your stool. And then this helps move the stool into your rectum. So once the food reaches the rectum is an 8-inch chamber that connects the colon to the anus. The rectum's job is to receive stool from the colon, and then it holds the stool inside the 8-inch chamber. And then when anything like gas or stool comes into the rectum, a sensor goes off and sends a message to your brain letting you know. After it passes through the rectum, it reaches the anus. The anus is the large part of the digestive tract. It's a 2-inch long canal that consists of pelvic floor muscles and 2 anal sphincters. The lining of the upper anus is specialized to detect rectal contents, so it lets you know whether the contents are liquids, gases, or stools. The anus is surrounded by sphincter muscles, which is important because it allows control of your stool and your bowel movements. The pelvic floor muscle creates an angle between the rectum and the anus that stops stool from coming out when it's supposed to. The internal sphincter is always tight, except when stool enters through the rectum. It keeps us continent when we are asleep and otherwise unaware of the presence of our stool. So when we get the urge to go to the bathroom, we rely on our external sphincter to hold the stool until reaching the toilet. And once you reach the toilet, you then relax and release the contents.